The force that brings newborn and new parent together through a delivery room video chat. And the force that makes sure our military, serving 7,000 miles away, gets to watch the big game from a USO center. We get to be the force behind the forces, connecting them to every comfort of family, home, and country possible. It's a good feeling to make a difference. Visit uso.org/force to learn how you can be the force behind the forces.
Talk health, talk wealth, talk politics, talk 1470 and 95.3 FM, WNN.
Whether I'm training for a marathon, kickboxing, or lifting, I train to add muscle and build my inner strength. I'm always working to increase my reps and beat my own best time. I am proud that I was born this way, driven. That's why I serve in the United States Coast Guard. You can find me on a Coast Guard cutter, along with my shipmates, who are a lot like me, driven and committed to our country and the safety of our citizens. We collect maritime intelligence. We catch drug smugglers approaching our coasts, and we're ready to respond to emergency calls from vessels in distress. 24/7, no matter our mission, we expect the very best from each other. We were born for this. We were born for the Coast Guard.
Were you born ready for the Coast Guard? Learn more at gocoastguard.com.
Sponsored by the United States Coast Guard in cooperation with the Florida Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Talk 1470 is WWNN Pompano Beach and 95.3 FM, W237BD Boca Raton, the Health and Wealth Radio Network.
It's Thursday night and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes two. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese.
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
1470 AM and 95.3 FM, the Health and Wealth Radio Network. Listen for the latest on nutritional facts on Food for Thought with your host, Jolie Root, Mondays at noon, WNN.
Attention seniors, are you as confused about your Medicare options as I was? Do what I did. Call I Will Advisors at 954-753-8080. They answered all my questions over the phone, and when I was ready to make changes, since I can't drive, Debbie came to my house, which was so convenient. Debbie took care of everything for me. I was able to keep all my doctors and my same pharmacy down the street. Call Debbie at I Will Advisors, 954-753-8080. 954-753-8080.
Now you can get Talk 1470 WNN on 95.3 FM too. Loud and clear, Health and Wealth Radio, WNN.
The opinions expressed in the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of the station, its staff, management, or sponsors. Welcome to the Golf and Travel Show, the place to fine-tune your swing, dress for the course, club, or cruise, and get tips on the best places to play and stay at the right price. Vacation or staycation, host Dan Shub, along with his expert co-hosts and guests, will tell you where to go. To play golf and vacation, that is. Now, here's Dan.
Welcome to the Golf and Travel Show. I'm your host, Dan Shub, and like we always do around this time, we're going to talk some golf and we're going to talk some travel, and in just a couple of minutes, we'll be joined by our guests. We'll be speaking to Michael Armfield, and he is representing a wonderful organization that I'm very pleased to have been a part of for the past several years, and that would be Wheels for Kids, and we'll be chatting about their 7th annual charity golf tournament that's coming up this coming October 7th on a Saturday morning, 8:30 tee off, and I'll be there. I'll have a group, so if you want to say hello to me and help out a worthy cause, then you'll want to hear more about this. And Michael is going to be joined by another supporter of Wheels for Kids, and that would be a gentleman by the name of Steph Black. And he lives in the area, and he happens to be a racing car driver, which is a little bit of a different kind of occupation. And he's, I guess he sees the connection between his wheels and the Wheels for Kids, and he wanted to do his part too. So we're going to be chatting with him a little bit about the event as well, and a little bit about his life, because I don't get to talk to racing car drivers all that often. So we'll have some fun. And like we typically do, we'll talk more golf in the beginning of the show, and then we're going to switch gears, and we're going to talk a little bit more about travel. And, of course, a lot has been going on since I've been on the air live last 2 weeks ago. We were unfortunately interrupted by a woman by the name of Irma, and she did a little bit of damage to Florida, some places much worse than others, of course, and we're all still cleaning up that mess. And of course, other places that folks like to travel to and that I like to talk about and promote and visit myself have taken a real bad beating from this hurricane season. So we'll certainly touch on that a little bit later in the show as well. Also, of course, I do got some deals for you, just like I always do. So we'll send you off to all different places and do it on the cheap, because that's what we like to do. And there's a lot of other news in the travel world that has transpired. And last week, actually, not only due to the storm and issues still with power and stuff like that, I happen to have been traveling for a change, of course, and I always like to bring back my tales from the road and fill you all in on my experiences, whether they be good or bad, and this way you all can make decisions based on what I do and hopefully not make any of the mistakes I make. Not that I make a lot of mistakes, but so we'll talk a little bit about my trip to Minneapolis as well, which I hadn't visited Minneapolis in about 10 years, and it was good to get back. Certainly not in the winter, though. Thank you very much. Although I did get a taste of some chilly weather while I was out there, which I guess is nice, because it's so hot here in the summer that for us Floridians that enjoy the warm weather all year long, sometimes getting a little taste of some cold and a little less humidity is a nice thing. So golf, let's talk a little bit of golf, because that's what we like to do this time of the week. And there's a lot going on. I mean, this weekend, of course, is the Tour Championship, and I don't like to talk too much about it because some of you end up listening to the show on our sister station when we rerun on WSBR, which, of course, is on Sundays at 6 o'clock, so the event is pretty much over then. But, of course, Jordan Spieth, he's was the odds-on favor going in, and he's a little bit off the pace, only about 4 strokes back. I believe that the top 5 point getters on the FedEx scoring system have a chance to win the FedEx Cup as well as the Tour Championship this week. The top 5, they control their own fate. So if they were to win the championship this weekend, not only would they win close to $2 million for that, but there's a $10 million bonus for the FedEx champion. And, this was created about 10 years ago, kind of talking about racing tonight. We'll be talking racing. It was, their kind of season-ending race that they also have. And it's managed to keep more of the better players playing and keep us fans more tuned in on TV, especially now that football has begun to compete against golf for your attention, too, and that's not easy. But the top 5 players, Jordan Spieth, Justin Thomas, Dustin Johnson, Mark Leishman, and Jon Rahm, they're the ones that control their own fate. Only the top 30 point getters in this FedEx are playing in this event. So it's kind of a unique event as well, in that, there's so many less people out there on the golf course, and there's no cut, of course, after the first 2 rounds. There's only 30 players. So, but they're the best. And this year, the competition amongst the young players, the very young and the somewhat young, has just been incredible. The competition, perhaps unlike any other year. So I know I'm going to be watching it, especially on Sunday, and see what happens, and hopefully you'll all be tuning in as well. other golf, the Champions Tour is playing this weekend as well, and one of the nicer courses to have a chance to watch if you can't afford the tab to play. I don't know what they're charging these days, probably about $600-700. And that would be at Pebble Beach Golf Links, also Poppy Hills out there near Pebble Beach out in that Monterey Peninsula. And just a beautiful, beautiful area, and to watch some of the better, wiser golfers on the tour that have been around a longer amount of time than on the regular tour. These guys still know how to hit it, and to watch them play on a beautiful course like that is entertaining. So if you're not out there playing golf, the least you could be doing this weekend is watching it. In the news today, not unlike a lot of other days, Tiger Woods was in the news for a change. And, I don't like to spend too much time talking about him when he's not playing. I prefer to talk about the other players. But, I mentioned from time to time, he's kind of my neighbor. He lives in my school district, and he gets a lot of attention around these parts, of course. And a couple of stories about him. It came out today that he is continuing to recover from his surgeries and his injuries to his back. And he's been saying that for quite some time. He's been hitting the ball gently, and he still is only hitting 60-yard shots. So he obviously has a real long way to go. And in other news that relates to him that's not so good, his tournament, it seems this past year it was known as the Quicken Loans Invitational. It's Quicken Loans has been the sponsor for several years. It's played in the Washington, D.C. area at 2 or 3 different golf courses. It kind of moves around. I actually went a couple of years ago to the event in Virginia. And Quicken, their contract expired, and they don't have a new deal at this point. So they're still trying to get Quicken to renew, but as of now, he is sponsorless, and that's not a good place to be. So we'll see what happens with that. But on the bright side for Tiger, he is getting ready for next week's event, whereby he is an assistant captain, and that would be the President's Cup. And he relished that role at the Ryder Cup last year, and it seems that, I guess, the fact that he is not able to compete on the tour right now and he's extremely bored, he actually has risen to the level of being a mentor to several of these other younger up-and-coming players, whereby they text one another and are communicating on a regular basis. And he's kind of getting into this coaching, captaining kind of thing. So he's going to certainly get a lot of TV time next week at the President's Cup, and hopefully our team will do well. Steve Stricker is the captain, and Tiger has the right attitude. He says that his job is to do anything that Mr. Stricker asks him to do to help the team. And again, golf is a whole different world when it's a team sport. We don't see it too often with the pros playing, other than perhaps the Ryder's Cup and the President's Cup. It's kind of different, and it's refreshing to see Tiger not only worried about Tiger. So this will be fun. And Jason Day, of course, is the number one player on the international team, and he was playing better today, I believe. He's moving up on the champion, the tour championship. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm looking forward to watching this play out. Now, another interesting little tidbit of news this past week that I kind of caught that maybe you didn't catch is, it seems that the PGA Tour is very, very concerned about sports betting. And I had mentioned that Jordan Spieth was the 5-1 favorite going into this weekend's event. There's plenty of odds for betting on golf, but it seems that it's becoming more and more common. And golf being an individual sport, it's also easier perhaps for there to be some irregularities in the scoring, somebody, I don't know, betting against themselves, on themselves. We know that golfers, in particular, like to have little wagers when they play. Even us amateurs, are betting a little bit. And of course, the more competitive people like athletes, whether they be athletes from other sports that also enjoy the golf course or golfers themselves, it seems that betting has been a little bit of the history of golf. And the PGA Tour has gone and hired a company called Genius Sports. It's a London-based company to monitor wagering information worldwide in case of any irregular activities, so that they can kind of monitor and make sure that no funny stuff is going on. So it seems that other sports are trying to stop legalized betting from taking place, other than, I guess, Las Vegas, where there is sports betting. But other places, like Florida, you can go to the casino, but there's no sports book. It seems that, I guess maybe New Jersey, Chris Christie, he's one that's being sued. So we'll have to see what happens with that. But in any event, we'll see what happens with that. I mean, it's a gentleman's sport, but we can't be so naive. You can't be naive when it comes to performance-enhancing drugs. It's while it hasn't been prevalent, it can happen. So they need to keep an eye on that as well. And we'll monitor the situation because it's going to be interesting both for golf as well as other sports. Keep in mind that other sports are starting to actually compete in Las Vegas in the very near future. This season, they're going to have an NHL hockey team based in Las Vegas. The Oakland Raiders will become the Las Vegas Raiders. So sports gambling seems to be something that's going to happen, and it's not going to be stopped. So it's just a matter of monitoring it. So, all right, I think what we're going to do is we're going to take our first break, and then we're going to come back, and we're going to be talking about the Wheels for Kids 7th Annual Charity Tournament. You're not going to want to miss it. It's a great event, so stay tuned, and we'll be back with more of the Golf and Travel Show. And we are back in time for a quick message from our sponsor, Labor Finders. If your business needs industrial workers or if you're looking for work, you got to call Labor Finders. Labor Finders places for temporary or temporary to hire opportunities for skilled, semi-skilled, or general labor positions such as plumbers, electricians, concrete workers, forklift operators, hospitality, office clerical, storm cleanup, and so much more. Labor Finders has almost 200 offices nationwide. Near here in Boca Raton, they have offices in Homestead, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach, and in Jupiter. So if you need legal insured workers or if you're looking for work, call Labor Finders toll free at 800-864-7749. That's 800-864-7749 or visit laborfinders.com. And we are back, and a little different version of that song by The Who, by Pearl Jam. And, of course, the kids are all right, but they aren't always all right by themselves. Sometimes they need us to help them a little bit, and it's always good when you can join up with a charitable organization that's doing their best to help a bunch of kids, and that would be the Wheels for Kids organization that I've partnered with. And our next guest, Michael Armfield, he, I guess, is a board member. He's been working with the charity for a long, long time and helping out with their tournament. And to find out a little bit more about the event and some of the festivities, we will turn it over to him. Michael, are you with us?
Hey, Dan, what's happening, my man?
Well, it's good to have an opportunity to talk to you. We had a chance to party together a little bit at that kickoff event, which was a wonderful event, as it always is. And I'm surely looking forward to the tournament itself. Now, I understand that Steph Black, our other friend who's kindly a sponsor and helping out with the event, he couldn't make it tonight, correct?
Yeah, that's right. I think he was racing, driving too fast, and ran out of gas.
Oh, no. Well, you know, it's a tough business, obviously, being a race car driver. I would have been curious to hear a little bit more from him, but hopefully we'll see him at the tournament, and anybody who wants to show up, I'm hoping that he'll be there, and maybe they'll get a chance to ask him a few questions as well. Is there a chance he's going to be at the event?
Yeah, absolutely. Steph's going to be there with Steph Black Racing. He's going to have the race car there. They've been really generous, Palm Beach International Raceway and Steph Black Racing, to just give us some great raffle prizes and auction prizes to just help enhance our charity.
Now, I played in the event last year, and it was wonderful. It was at the Atlantis Country Club. I think a couple of years it was there, but this year it's at a new venue. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, sure. This year we're going to be hosted by Palm Beach National Golf Club and Country Club. It's a wonderful track in Lake Worth. It's family-owned. Mikey D and his whole team have just really opened the doors and rolled out the carpet for us and let us do pretty much whatever we want. And actually, Dan, this is the course that is my only, well, for today, my only hole-in-one on their par 3, number 3, 147 yards.
That's awesome. I mean, I can relate. I only have one myself, too. It's been for me, believe it or not, like almost 50 years, like 40 some odd years, 45, 50 years since I hit it. Mine was at Bethpage Black. I was fortunate. Back then it was not a U.S. Open course, but the fact that it became one certainly helps with what people think of it. But the chances of me ever doing it again are pretty slim. Just hitting the green, I'm happy, no less the hole. But hopefully that we'll get somebody who'll have a hole-in-one at the event, I hope.
Oh, that would be fantastic. Whoever does hit the hole-in-one is going to get a private day on the racetrack, 200 miles an hour in the car with Steph. It's going to be just an awesome opportunity if someone hits that. But you know the odds of it.
It's not easy, but it happens. You know, it's funny. Many years ago, I was friends with somebody who hit a hole-in-one, and he was a competitive golfer. You know, he liked to play amateur events around the area, and he ended up winning a Corvette. And it was so expensive, the Corvette, that he had to give up his amateur status for several years and then petition to get it back again. I mean, you don't realize it, but if you accept a prize of large value, you become a professional golfer.
Yep, right overnight. Yep.
It's pretty crazy. Not that I would not want to win a prize like a Corvette or an opportunity to race with Steph. So either or, that would be very, very cool. Now, there are a lot of other things going on at the event. Now, to start off, of course, when you sign up to play, there is a continental breakfast of some sort, I believe, before you go out and play.
Yeah, the tournament's October 7th. It's an early morning start. We've got a continental breakfast, a round of golf, a fabulous lunch, and then raffles, prizes, awards. It's just going to be a blast.
And of course, some sort of lunch as well after the event, I suppose, where all these prizes and whatnot will be divvied up.
Yes, sir.
Well, I'm looking forward to that. Now, in the golf course, obviously, we just went through a hurricane. From what I understand, it survived. I know it was in very good shape before. Do you have any update on the condition, how they've managed to clean the place up and get it ready for the tournament?
Yeah, they're all cleaned up and ready to go. They were actually back up in business fairly quickly after the storm. It's nice because it's a private family-owned now, so they really, really attend to you, which is, it's nice. If you're a golfer, you've been to all sorts of golf courses, and Palm Beach National just makes you feel like family the minute you get there.
Well, and also it is an older golf course, and it's nice to play older golf courses as long as they do keep them in good condition, because it's not easy. I mean, it is a lot of work to do that, but sometimes the character of an older golf course is way different when, the trees and everything has a chance to grow in versus some of these newer golf courses.
Yeah, it's a really fun track. The back is very different than the front. They've been there for 40 years. It's just a great track. I love going out there. It's a little bit of a drive for me, but it's just a really fun track to play. Now,
some tournaments in our neck of the woods, I mean, we are in the shadow of Palm Beach, and sometimes they're extremely expensive to play in, but this one not so.
No, we really try to make it accessible to everybody. I mean, this is a fun time to celebrate with friends, a fun time to raise some money. The entry fee per player is only $100. The lowest sponsorship that you can get into is $100. I mean, it's just, you said it, we're in Palm Beach County. Your normal fundraiser golf tournament is $175 to $250, and you can go up from there.
Yes, and let's face it, if it's for a good cause, it's okay, but not all of us can write a check for that all the time. So it's nice to have an opportunity to do something good, have some fun, and not have it break the bank as well. So that's pretty cool. Now, so let me just repeat one more time. So it's October 7th, Saturday. It's 8:30 tee off. The festivities begin, obviously, a little bit before that. Registration at 7 o'clock. We are talking about Palm Beach National in Lake Worth. on St. Andrews Road. And if anybody would like to sign up to play as a single or as a foursome, you can do either or be a sponsor. The best way to do that is to give Marcus a call at 561-376-1538. That's Marcus at 561-376-1538. You could also drop an email to golf@wheelsforkids.org. So those would be the ways to find out more or get yourself in the event. Now we're talking about Wheels for Kids, and I didn't get a chance to mention specifically. I mean, in the past I've spoken about it, but exactly what the charity is all about and what they do. So why don't you let everybody know what Wheels for Kids is all about?
Certainly. This is just an incredible charity. Wheels for Kids is dedicated to enhancing the quality of life for children that have permanent physical disabilities. What I mean by that is they're going to live in a wheelchair for the rest of their lives. Our founder, Denise Roser, just really found a niche of people that have children that fall into that category, that either you're very affluent and you can afford it on your own, or you're impoverished and the government will pay for it. But if you're in the middle, you're kind of on your own. Your insurance isn't going to cover it, and the average wheelchair that we give away is around $10,000. I mean, think about it. You're going to live in a wheelchair for the rest of your life. Denise's vision really was to say, let's make that as comfortable as possible, as mobile as possible, so that these folks can really have some dignity, some autonomy, and be able to move around.
Now, they're all customized. So, I mean, I've seen a few of them presented. I've seen some pictures on the website. I saw one that looks more like a stroller, yet it's a wheelchair. One that is specifically designed to roll on the beach, on the sand, for a child that wants to go to the beach and enjoy that as well. So each situation, I guess, is different, and these wheelchairs are customized for those specific situations, right?
You got it exactly. So folks that are looking for this kind of help, they go through an application process where we make sure everything checks out, and then we're custom designing it to fit their needs. Their disabilities can range in such a variety that each one is going to be customized exactly to them. And, you know, you mentioned the stroller and the beach cart. We've got quite a few people that have come through our organization that we've given a stroller when they're, you know, infant age. And then they graduate through that and they come back. And it's just a real joy for us to be able to follow that family and provide them with, you know, one of the greatest things that they need. Again, these kids they're immobile. So the burden and strain that puts on a family is really unbelievable. You wouldn't understand it until you met one and heard them. So we're just excited that we can follow families and really help them in this area that there's just really no assistance out there otherwise for them.
Well, it's certainly a wonderful organization, and for folks who would like to learn more about it, you can go to their website, wheelsforkids.org, and see some of these photos with these kids that, you know, their lives have been changed. And, of course, if you can play in the tournament, we would love to see you out there. If you would just like to make a small donation of any kind, you could do that. If you want to volunteer, you could do that. Or, of course, if you know a kid that is in need, I suppose, you know, reach out to the organization, and I know that not everybody could always be accommodated, but start the conversation and see if you can help somebody out, right?
Oh, absolutely. You know, because of Irma coming through, we're still shy a good 20 golfers, so we really need the community to come out and show up and meet some new folks, connect with new business opportunities, and support a great charity. So if there's folks out there that are looking for something to do at a great cost and just have a blast for a good cause, we'd love for them to come out.
Well, one more time, it's Saturday, October 7th in the morning. We'll be playing at Palm Beach National in Lake Worth. It's $100 per player. There's still a bunch of openings. There's a few sponsorship opportunities as well. It's inexpensive, and if you want to sign up, you can give Marcus a call at 561-376-1538 or drop an email to golf@wheelsforkids.org. I will be there. Michael will be there. Steph Black will be there. And hopefully you'll be there too. Whoever's listening, we'd like to see you there too. Thank you, Michael. I really appreciate you spending some time with us tonight.
Hey, Dan, thanks for always being a great supporter. I look forward to playing you and hopefully putting some numbers on you.
Well, it won't be that difficult to do that, but I don't mind losing to you as long as it's for such a wonderful cause.
I love it. Thank you, my friend.
All right, you take care. All right, what we're going to do is we're going to take one more quick break, and we will be back with more of the Golf and Travel Show. Stay tuned.